What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys either like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Alright, y'all, so gig work is becoming more and more popular every single day. I know a lot of people, they probably stumble upon these gig content creators and they're saying how much money they can make, and they're like, look, how do I go ahead and get started? I want to go ahead and get into this myself. Or maybe you're still fairly new and you're still trying to navigate through this crazy gig community. So today I want to go over a few things for newbies. So if you're just getting into the game, like I said, you've only been here for maybe a few weeks, a few months, or if you're brand new, you know absolutely nothing about gig work and you're not really sure where to start, well, this video is going to be for you. So let's go ahead and get into these tips. So starting off, the first thing you need to do is plan and research. Now, this actually entails a few different things. Now, when it comes to planning, you need to have an idea of what your end goal is. There are a lot of people who get stuck in gig work, almost like it's a dead-end job, and they have no room for growth. They don't know what they're doing. They're just hitting the road, getting this money, and it's just a never-ending cycle. You do not want to fall into that trap. So come up with a plan. Figure out why you want to get into gig work. Are you just trying to pay off some debts? Maybe you want to pay off a car, maybe some credit card debt. Maybe you're trying to save up for a vacation. Or maybe you just want to use gig work as a stepping stone for something else. Maybe you're trying to start your own courier business and you're trying to get some clientele. You're just trying to see how the market works, things like that. Whatever it is, but you need to have a plan. You need to have an exit plan. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing gig work, but like I said, there's way too many people that get into this game and they end up stuck and they don't have any direction as far as where they want to go from there. So make sure you have a plan in place and you have some goals as far as something that you want to work towards. Now, when it comes to research, this is just laying that foundation as far as learning everything you need to know up front before you start hitting the road. So checking for different apps and seeing what's in your market, maybe looking up some other videos. You can look at my videos, you can look at some other content creators' videos. Just kind of get an idea of what to expect. You don't want to go ahead and download an app and then you have no idea what to do. So if you see an app that interests you, go ahead and do some research on it, figure out the do's and the don'ts. Maybe you need some equipment to make your job more efficient. So just learning all of the things that you need in order to make your job easier. You do not want to go in blind, not knowing a single thing about any of these apps. Now, once you got an idea of how you want to tackle gig work and what apps you want to use, you need to start slow. What you see on these videos may not be your reality. Depending on the app, you have some apps that start off slow, and maybe you have to work your way up to get to those big payouts. Other apps, you have that honeymoon phase and you're getting all the good orders left and right, and you're like, yo, this is great, I love this app, I can't believe I didn't get on it sooner. But after that honeymoon phase, you hit a point and then you're like, oh, so this is what people are talking about. And now you find yourself trying to chase that same high that you had before, and it seems like it's getting harder and harder and harder to obtain that same amount of success that you had in the beginning. So just know whatever you're experiencing in the beginning, whether it's super slow because you have to work your way up, or it's that honeymoon phase, like I said, don't take that for face value like this is how everything is going to be going moving forward. There's going to be different trends that you're going to have to learn as well, and you're going to have to learn your market. And I'm not talking about like, you know, after a few weeks or a few months you're going to be an expert in your market. No, sometimes it might take you a good year, if not 2 years, to be an expert in your market. And even then, that's not even set in stone. Things are always changing over time. You have to learn the trends. So say for instance, you're doing food delivery apps. You have to learn when the breakfast rush is, the lunch rush, dinner rush, all of that. If you're doing grocery apps, you know, people might tend to order more so in the afternoon or the evening because they're trying to prep dinner. Then you have your weekly trends. Maybe it's a little bit slower in the middle of the week for some apps, but come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is popping off. People get paid, it's the weekend, and a lot of people are ordering. Then you have monthly trends. People are getting their checks at the beginning of the month, so they're more likely to spend. And then of course you have your yearly trends. So depending on the holidays, some people might be buying more during certain times of the year, especially around Black Friday, closer to Christmas. You're probably going to see a lot of package delivery apps popping off, just different things like that. These are all things that you're going to have to learn through experience. And while everything that I named off, these are your typical trends, your market is going to have different trends just based off of different variables in that particular market. I might have more success around 3 p.m. in the afternoon on a Wednesday, but in this other market, it's completely dead. So it just depends on where you live. And like I said, these are just things that you're going to have to learn over time. And you do that by, slowly trying different apps. Try this app on this day, see if you're successful. Try this app on that day, or, whatever. Just starting off slow, trying to learn the market, and then you go ahead and make your adjustments over time. And from there, you'll be able to make more calculated decisions as far as what apps to utilize during certain time frames. All right, moving on to the next tip. Save money for expenses. Now, I definitely feel like not a lot of creators talk about this. You see people say how much they can make here, they can do that, make 200, 300 in a day. And don't get me wrong, these are all definitely realistic goals. But at the same time, there's other expenses that are associated with that money that they're making. One, they may or may not disclose how much mileage they actually put onto that car when doing these deliveries. Secondly, you don't know how much they spent for gas. And plus, you don't know what they're gonna have to spend on repairs in the future. You're using your own vehicle here, and eventually your vehicle is going to break down. There is no it might, it is going to break down. It is inevitable. It doesn't matter if you're getting your tires changed, your brakes changed, your oil changed on a regular. Something big is going to happen eventually. That's just part of life. Cars break down. So eventually you might have to drop some money that you really don't want to in order to continue to make your money. And I'm not talking about just a couple $100s. Best case is just a few hundred, but in some cases you might have to drop $1,000 to maybe even more to go ahead and get your car back up and running. So it's just part of the game. So if you see someone saying, well, I made $300 in that day, sure, they might have made $300 on that video, but if they're smart, they should actually be taking some of that money and putting it to the side so they can put it back into their car. And on top of that, you're gonna have to pay taxes. And the more that you work, the more that you're gonna have to pay. Some people might pay throughout the year. Some people just wait until tax time and they just pay everything up front. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just up to what you prefer. But make sure you have some money set aside for your taxes. You're gonna have to pay your taxes. I know some people might avoid paying it, but look, pay your taxes, okay? You don't want that to come back and bite you later on down the line. So make sure you're paying your taxes. And most importantly, you don't get no type of paid time off. You don't get sick time, nothing like that. So if you don't work, you don't make any money. So you need to make sure you have some money set aside just in case you have to take some time off. And since we're on the topic of saving money, for those who might want to go ahead and do this as their primary source of income, if you're replacing your W-2 with gig work, I highly recommend that you save a good chunk of money to cover your expenses for a few months. I'm not talking about just 1 or 2 months worth of money to cover your expenses. I'm talking like long term, because you don't know what's going to happen. Things might start off slow, things might start off hot. You don't know. When it comes to gig work, it is extremely unpredictable. So you need to make sure you have some money in the bank to cover your expenses in the event that things don't pan out as you expected. So make sure you have yourself some money in the bank, and that's whether you're just getting started, for your expenses, your taxes, if you need to take time off. You just need some money in the bank just in case. You need to go ahead and make sure you have some money saved up. Moving on to the next tip, multi-app. Now, if there's ever a person that tells you that you can survive off of one singular app, just one, they're setting you up for failure, because apps change over time. There's way too many variables in play that can affect how much money you're going to be able to bring in. You got the pay going down. You got oversaturation. Sometimes you get slow periods. There's just too many factors that you should not be relying on just one app in order to make your money. Now, I just did a video going over well over 40 different delivery gig apps that you can sign up for. And I highly suggest that you check this video out. You know, there's so many different gig apps out there, and these are just delivery gig apps that I went over. I have a couple of other videos where I'm going over different types of gig apps as well. There's just so many apps out there. I don't even understand why anybody would want to just settle with one. So look at that video and see what you can sign up for, because the more the better. Now, don't get me wrong, I get that some people may not want to pay for like background checks, because some apps, they do require you to pay for your own background check. Sometimes you have to purchase equipment, things like that. I always like to think of it as an investment up front. That way you can get to making your money, right? Sometimes you got to spend money if you want to make money. So having multiple apps is going to be the best way that you're going to have success. You can bounce around to different apps depending on the climate. So if it's busier during a certain time of the day or a certain time of the week, you know, you can focus on that app primarily, because you know that app is going to be popping off. You know, kind of time things back together when I was talking about earlier, you know, learning your market and everything. So just bouncing around different apps. And then you can also stack some orders. There have been plenty of times where I might have an order that's going in the same direction as another order that I already got. So you can go ahead and stack your apps, go ahead and make some extra money while you're making money for another app. Make sure you stack the apps the right way. Don't be going like 10 miles in the opposite direction of this other order you got to do. That we don't do that. Okay, make sure you're being smart about stacking your apps. But I always say the more apps the better. I'm never going to stop preaching multi-apping. Download as many apps as your phone allows you to have. You know, as long as you got the space, look, you should be downloading more apps. There's nothing wrong with having multiple apps. And last but not least, be realistic. Now, this might be a tough pill to swallow for some people, but I try to keep it real on this channel. Y'all know, you know, I feel like some people don't really tell the full story when it comes to being a gig worker. You know, it's tough. It is tough. And this is why I personally am not going to be doing gig work full time. You know, I still have my W-2. I'm grateful that I was able to monetize this channel from the gig work that I've been doing. And amongst other endeavors that I do, you know, I have a few different streams of income. But to just rely on gig work itself, not to say it's not possible, but in today's climate, it's getting harder to be able to do that. And even if you're just doing it part-time, you know, you have your struggles. Besides the company obviously not caring and, you know, lowering the pay over time, you know, you have customers that honestly see you as less just because of that type of work that you're doing. And, you know, you're not always going to get those good payouts, because like I said, base pay for some apps, it's nothing. And so you're relying more so on tips. And like I said, with some customers, just kind of like, you know, I paid for it, I ordered it, I expect it to be at my doorstep, and you know, they have all these demands and stuff. You know, it gets kind of frustrating sometimes. It's like you're being pulled in two different directions. Honestly, I would say in three different directions, because you're probably fighting against yourself, trying to decide like, do I want to take this order that's paying me this to drive this? So it's a constant battle, and it definitely gets a bit tiring over time. So I know a lot of people, they might be like, you know, it's not really worth getting into gig work, this and that. I would say don't let that discourage you. You know, go and experience it for yourself, and you can decide, because my experience is not going to be your experience, and your experience isn't going to be my experience. So everybody is going to go through the gig journey differently. Just be realistic and know that you're not going to come out here and make crazy money, you know, as far as like making six figures. Some people might be able to, but I can guarantee you they probably not getting a lot of sleep if they're making six figures doing gig work. I'm just saying, you know, come out here with an open mind and be realistic, and don't really expect too much. Sure, you can go and get those big payouts. I love my catering apps, for instance. You know, you can get some pretty good payouts in a short amount of time. And if I could do that every day, all day, you know, yes, I technically could make six figures off of catering apps. But the reality of it is, you're not going to have access to those orders all of the time. Some days you might make 0. Some days you might make 200. It just depends. Climate is always changing. And honestly, when it comes to gig work, I would say it's more luck than anything. Sometimes you just have to be in the right place at the right time. So not to sound pessimistic or anything, but I'm just keeping it real and letting you know that it is not all sunshine and rainbows. Okay, you have to put in that work if you want to be successful. But sometimes sometimes you might feel like you're putting in work and putting in work and putting in work, and you're not really getting much in return. And to just kind of tie everything together, you know, come in here with an open mind. Come in here with that goal in mind. What do you want to do? Like I said in the beginning, are you trying to pay off some debts? Are you trying to save up some money? Or are you just trying to do this every now and then to have a little bit of extra income? So you don't really have much of an attachment to it. You know, you just know, well, I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna make a few extra dollars, and it's gonna go on my bank account, and I'm good. You know, you're not having those crazy high expectations that you're gonna come out here making $150, $200, $300 every single day, because it's just not realistic. It's not. Can it happen? Absolutely, but it's not gonna happen every single day. But at the same time, make sure you know your worth, and make sure you're not just taking any and every single order. Like I said, if you got a goal to work towards, cool. But like I said, take everything that I said, you know, put that together, and then, you know, just make the best of it. Just do the best that you can, and that's really all that you can do. There technically isn't a blueprint that will guarantee success in a sense of like, do this, this, and this, and you're gonna make X amount of dollars. But, you know, these are some tips to pretty much help you along the way, and to help you be as successful as you possibly can, considering the circumstances in the gig community. Hopefully this does help you become more successful in your gig journey. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's really all I got for this video. So like I said, I just wanted to do something a little bit different and just go over a few things for those who might be interested in getting into gig work. You know, maybe you don't know where to start, and you know, you just need a little push, a little help. So hopefully this does help out someone. And yeah, but if you guys have any other questions, or if you have anything to add, just let me know in the comments. Now, before I go, I have to remind you guys to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a video. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. And as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.